Today, I sit down with Reno King, owner of Armour Koatings, YouTuber, and one of the creators of the fastest growing, most active groups on Facebook, Koating Kings. When does he find time to make and produce all that content? One thing is for sure, Reno doesn't like to disappoint. His Army training and give first attitude has allowed him to rise faster than most. Listen in as we cover how to harness the power of content from followers, fans, and friends to generate buzz for your biz. Despite the video trouble with this interview, you'll hang on to his every word as he offers sage advice on the powder supply industry, how he revs sales in the racing scene, driving your A game, and getting out of your comfort zone. Finally, we discuss the validity of hearing no from your customers. Get ready to level up your powder coater game. Welcome to Roscoe's Powder Coater Podcast. I'm your co-host, Kim Scott. This weekly podcast interviews influencers in the powder coating industry and covers trending topics so powder coaters can effectively learn and grow their businesses. Today, we welcome a guy with a lot of energy. His Facebook group page says he's an aircraft electrician by day and a powder coater, Cerakoter by night. We're talking about Reno King himself from Armour Koatings out of Clarksville, Tennessee, to the show. Welcome to the show, Reno.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's good to have you. And I think what I like about what I've seen so far, and I've joined your group. Somebody invited me, so I have actually been commenting and posting on your group. But before we dive into your story, why did you start this group?
I have always, the group, because when I started doing the, I don't know if my video's froze or not, but
Yeah, it is frozen, but it'll come back maybe, huh? Okay, if not, we'll pause.
But I started the group because when I started my powder coating in my garage, I kind of was like, hey, I think there's nothing on YouTube, because I'm a YouTube guy. Like, I'll watch a million YouTube videos and go out and try it. Like, I built my own fence. It was like 600 foot of privacy fence. I was like, just watch some YouTube videos, and I was like, I'm going to do it. So when I come across this powder coating, I was like, there is nothing on how to do this. And especially on a more of a professional level, I did see some stuff out there, but they were trying, but I never seen anything approve of that going on from one video to the next to the next. So I was like, well, I'm just going to document my stuff. And I built a lot of my equipment in the beginning. And when I started documenting on YouTube, I started getting people to reach out to me on my personal page and my business page. And it just got to the point where I was like, oh my God, I'm answering this question to this guy, which this guy's got the same question. And then I had to explain it all over to him. And I was like, we all need to be together. And there were other groups, Facebook groups out there, but there's a lot of trash talk. And if you're going to be a professional, you need, no matter where you're at and what level, like say if I'm a 15-year veteran in the community and somebody's 6 months in, that 50 is mundane to them. They've been doing it millions of years. It's second nature. But this guy in the beginning, he's like, well, how do I do this? That guy should be talking to him like, here's how you do it. If he's going to be on part of those groups, give him those insights. Hey, try this. If that don't work, here's this,
with you on that. I mean, when I first started looking on YouTube too, I found the same thing you did. I took a different route just because I was a blogger. So I was actually blogging for customers. And so a lot of the content I created was just informational, educational content. that, you know, if they happen to stumble upon my YouTube channel, they would, you know, they could find that video, and I would just embed it in the blog post, because they were just they were actually finding my blog posts more than they were looking for me on Instagram or YouTube. But it's not easy to create content on different platforms, and I think that you do it pretty well. Of course, you're not afraid of the camera.
No,
and
that's
you know,
military right there.
yeah, is it? Yeah.
A lot of schools and training on talking as you get, you know, of the brain. You got to be able to teach a group of people. The schools you go to, you know, how to make a PowerPoint presentation, how to present yourself, how to keep talking, cut your crutch words out and stuff like that. And I just got better and better at it through that. That's great.
I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people rely on that kind of experience to get them to start a business or whatever, you know. They certainly do train the military right, you know. But it's almost, well, in your story or your bio, you said that you started just 5 years ago in your garage, but then it seemed like you've grown rapidly. Can you tell us more about that and how you did it?
Well, it was the marketing aspect behind it. So what happened is like I started figuring out how to manipulate Facebook, manipulate Instagram, not too much. It mainly was Facebook and Google My Business. Those two things right there. So ranking, SEO ranking and stuff like that, and overall has changed dramatically. You can't just buy your top spot anymore. Maybe big companies can. But if you're in your area, you get Google My Business, get verified. Well, if you're producing more content and the more stuff you produce on Google My Business, putting those pictures up, putting offers, then if somebody puts in powder coating near me and I'm near them, I'm number one. Actually, both of my businesses are number one and number two. Because I bought another powder coating business. Just because I go in and manipulate it all the time. And then I asked the customers, I was like, hey, if you're satisfied, would you mind sending me a review on Google or Facebook?
Yeah.
That's what that does, brings you higher and higher on the search engine.
It's true. And that's why it's essentially what I did too with Ross's company. And I was painting, he was painting furniture. Before we got into powder coating. But then when he got into powder coating, I wasn't as interested in learning powder coating. So I just kind of got on the computer and just started learning all about that stuff too. But it's exhausting. I mean, you have to be at it every day. There's a lot to learn. It's not easy. You know, we're doing a special right now where we're offering like a website and social media package to powder coaters. Just to custom coaters, so that we can, because we already know the ins and outs and now how hard it is. So for like $2,500, we can give you the full package deal, you know, just upload, you know, we just need your photos and some information about you. But, you know, it is, I guess if you're comfortable with it, there's a lot of people that aren't comfortable with it. And for those that aren't, it's not easy to get out there and get yourself out there. And then there's always this judgment zone, right? Where you're looking at, you know, say you follow Roro and then you're just starting out and you're like, how can I, you know, and it's not about that though.
Strive to be better, you know. You'd be like, oh, that guy's been in business for 10 years. Everybody started somewhere. Everybody messed up at the beginning. You know, you either pay, I look at it in two ways. You either pay somebody a lot of money and go to school to be able to be taught to you, or you could just put your hands on it and teach yourself. It's going to cost you money, but you're actually doing, you know, you're using the powders, you're using the guns, you're using the ovens. And that's kind of the way I looked at it. Instead of me investing, I did go to Columbia Coatings school, but I didn't do it till 6 months after I started coating.
Right.
It's a great beginner course, but there's no, and that's another thing that needs to be created. Somebody needs to create an advanced course. Now, I did talk about that with some of my guys a while back. But it was right before COVID happened, and it kind of washed everything out for a while. So back to the drawing board.
No, it's happening, and I'll be happy to add you to my group because we've got a little thing going on with those that are interested in that. Because I'm determined to make it happen. I think it's sorely needed. In fact, I mentioned it in, let's see, Powder Coating Tough magazine came out with, well, where did it go? Oh, it's right here. I mean, I don't know if you get this magazine or not, but
everything I subscribe to is all digital aspects.
Yeah. They're talking about educating the powder coating industry. And, you know, I get what they were talking about in this magazine. I disagree. I mean, from a custom coater point of view, I sorely disagreed. I almost feel like writing a rebuttal. You know, and it's a, you know, I could get from their point of view what they're seeing in the industry. But here's the problem. Most of the kids that are coming out of college are getting into chemistry. And we don't need any more chemists. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't understand you know, how important chemistry is. I imagine it is, you know, they are pushing forward with a lot of biomass stuff and everything like that. But from a custom coater point of view, our problems are different. Yeah. You know, we have very different problems, and you know, I appreciate the industry people, professional, whatever they want to call themselves. I appreciate that point of view, but it just showed me how divergent our two industries are. I think that's pretty much what you know, and that was my question to PCI was, you know, you say you want custom coaters to join you, join your institute, and that's fine and that's great, but because there's only 120 of us that call ourselves custom coaters in this membership. Yeah. So if there's that many people, if there's so many people in this industry and it's growing and supposed to double and all of that, how the hell are you going to get all those people to join you? You know, I mean, you've got big gap. And then how are you going to address their needs? You know, so I wrote to Kevin Corson about that and stuff. And I think he responded to my email, but I think there's definitely something missing educationally for custom coaters for sure. So I think the podcast hopefully is kind of we're sharing our opinions and our concerns and our trends or what we're seeing or what's missing or whatever. And I appreciate you coming on the show to talk about that because it's something that I think we could make happen, and it could be interactive, especially with COVID and, you know, travel and, you know, and stuff. So, anyways, I'm talking too much, but
you're right.
You know, I got on my soapbox, but I think
that's another reason why I don't pay attention to any of the like the Powder Coating Institute or anything like that. They have nothing for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going to waste my time. Of course, I do a lot of industrial stuff too. Like here lately, and I try to maintain those because that's where you can get your projected incomes a lot better on continued business instead of walk-in business. And it keeps the doors open, you know.
Right.
It's always there. It's consistent, relatively easy to do, basic colors. But you also have to have a setup for it and be able to swap on the fly, go from industrial. Now we got to do these custom two-tone wheels. So it's
so hard.
That is I could teach somebody how to spray industrial stuff in a week. It'd take me months to get the two-tone aspect down. in somebody, things to pay attention to.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? I mean, I think that and it lends itself as you grow. I mean, the whole point is, if you're going to start, I mean, maybe if you're retiring, you're retired and this is your second business, or you're into the growth factor as much as young people are, but the hope is, I would assume, is to grow, start your business in the garage and then grow to having a 10,000 square foot facility. I don't know. I mean, maybe everybody's is different, but there are going to be people out there that want to be, growing. Growth. I mean, that was your story. You started doing that,
I had 4 years left in the military, and I was like, I got to do something. So it's either I'm going to stay in for 20 or I'm going to pursue a dream of mine. And it wasn't powder coating wasn't the dream. It was my own business was the dream. And I looked for like a year. 2016 is when I started. So 2015, I did tons of research. And I was like, powder coating is the center of all the main industries out there, automotive, industrial, fabrication, just everything, like your appliances and all that. I was like, there should be no downtime, and it started making it more, it's more relevant in the today. I mean, especially out in the West Coast area, can't spray certain paints in certain states,
Yeah. It's getting tougher.
Water base is usually acceptable because little to no VOCs. So I was like, well, if the current trend of trying to go green keeps going, sooner or later there'll be no paint base. Even automotive industry, car manufacturers are taking their paint, the majority of their paint stuff out and they're powder coating because it's a lot safe, less restrictions on OSHA and EPA. Yeah. So it's makes money for them. Makes sense.
I talk about that a lot when I bring up those articles in the news, in the coder news segments and stuff, because I want coders to grasp that. And all I'm doing is just taking articles out of coatings world and stuff, but that's basically what I'm seeing in the industry, what you just said, they're transitioning out of this. This is a global movement.
Yes.
And
that's what I decided. I was like, I don't know anything about this powder coating, but it looks like it's relatively easy. I'm going to start doing this in my garage. Majority of the equipment I can build on my own. Oven. I bought my wife a brand new oven. I took her oven while I was rigging my wife's old oven up. I built me a 4x4x6 oven off of using the powder coating the complete guide or whatever.com.
Right.
And used their kind of design, made some changes in it and built my own oven, built my own paint booth out of a powder booth out of a restaurant vent-a-hood system, a freestanding vent-a-hood system for fryers. And I retrofitted it with the filters and all that and hooked up a fan system to it. I did that for almost 2 years in my garage with that setup. And as I kept going, I started doing more and more marketing, and that got me. Sorry, I don't know why my camera.
Well, that's fine. You sound just fine. Yeah, just. Yeah.
But yeah, just doing that, and that's what got me into it. And I've always wanted to be on my own business. And my cousin, I got some family members that have businesses in Texas and stuff. And my cousin was like, one time, I always called and talked to him about, hey man, what are you thinking about this business idea? Hey, yeah. He's like, one day he just said, Reno, you're never going to know until you do it. Just jump head first into it. So I was like, you're right. I guess you're right. So that's what I did. I'm going to do it. I ain't going to do it half-assed. I went all in and spent all the money I had at the time and built everything up. And when I started marketing and stuff, I was getting really good at powder coating, but I became a better marketer to be able to manipulate these platforms where people see me, knew about me. And that's the big deal. You build a business, who knows about you? With social media, I call it my digital word of mouth because it's still word of mouth. It just travels a lot faster.
Yeah. It's where the customers are.
Yep.
And I mean, there's a lot I want to say about Instagram, but I mean, I never thought that I would find customers on Instagram. I was thinking, how could I ever get there, you know? And I haven't even done maybe half the stuff that these influencers talk about how to use Instagram for, like direct messaging and all of that. I haven't even gotten into that, but
on there, and I just signed up for TikTok. I don't know why, but that's some of my guys around here that I've helped teach and start their business. They use TikTok, so I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Did you?
But, yeah, I don't know. It's just another platform that, because now Facebook and Instagram are so integrated that once you're using the business suite through Facebook's new application, as soon as you post on Facebook, it goes to your Instagram and your Facebook.
Yeah. I'm part of, I got invited to a new platform called Clubhouse. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I've been following Elon Musk on there.
Yeah.
With his Clubhouse interviews.
Yeah, I was getting notifications all the time when people would start whatever, but for some reason, I haven't gotten any in the last couple of days. But I thought, if we could start a tribe on somewhere, if it's not on the directory, could we start something in Clubhouse where we could just have chats and stuff? I think that might be a potential platform for meeting people, talking about powder coating as a group, and stuff. I see a lot of upside to education, to equipment purchasing, better rates, cheaper equipment. What do you think is the best way to reach out to these people? Is it just to these companies, these corporations, to kind of break that wall down?
The big corporation, are you talking about PPG?
Yeah,
GEMA?
just GEMA. Yeah, exactly.
Those guys, I think,
are they ever going to listen to us?
They're not. They're never going to. And I hate to say it, but you're looking at the company that makes $100,000, $200,000 a year, like a small powder coating company. But then they're selling, they just opened the LG factory here in Clarksville. Well, they do, their whole powder coating line is GEMA. And I talked to the GEMA rep here. He's like, yeah, I spend most of my time there. Yeah. And then when my GEMA rep was here, I'm not trying to talk bad on anybody. When my GEMA rep was here, he didn't know all the aspects of the gun too.
Right.
And I was like, oh no, because he just tells me, no, you just set it right here and then forget it. And I was like, you don't adjust your KVs? Well, you have to a little bit here and there. I was like, what about your fluidization air, your rinse air, stuff like that? He's like, oh, that's deep in the menu, blah, blah, blah. You really don't need to set them up because all they're thinking about is they got a 50-pound hopper with white all day, single stage, or two stage, that's not. You need all those settings when you're doing custom, really intricate parts, large parts, small parts. They just don't have it. And their gun is so expensive. Is it really worth that much? I don't think so. People get caught onto the whole hype of, well, it's GEMA, it's got to be good, because they are the number one leading supplier of powder coating equipment in the world.
Yeah.
But all their components on those guns are proprietary. When I hear proprietary, I hear 10 times the value of all the other guns. And that's what I don't get, because there are some key features like the new units that will go up to 110 kV. They got that PCC mode when you drop below so many microamps or whatever. But does it? I've shot them. I've had a GEMA gun in my shop for a couple of weeks on a demo model. I've got an older Wagner. I've got an older Parker Onyx. I got the IntelliCoat, which is a knockoff version of a GEMA OptiFlex 2.
Right.
And I have a Cool Coat 2.0. if you know your system, you don't need a super awesome gun. You know,
right.
You learn your system.
You learn to work around, yeah.
Yeah, and that's with any gun. Once you get it, you're gonna have to know where your ideal air pressure is for that particular part. You know how the powder comes out and everything. You just don't get it out of the box and do $10,000 set of wheels day one. Maybe if you're used to that particular model or something like that, but it takes a little learning curve to get those. I do notice a lot of people have a problem with digital units. Like I have that 171 here, or not the 171, the IntelliCoat system here. It's a digital powder coating system, just like a OptiFlex 2. I've tried so many times to teach people here at my shop how to use it, and it's like they're forgetting to turn down the KV. They're forgetting to adjust the microamps. Oh, it's the second stage. But if I put them on the little 2.0 I got, the Cool Coat 2.0, oh, this is too easy. And it's kind of the same. It's an auto adjustment on the microamps, but I mean, it's still basically the same principles, just a lot more adjustability with the digital.
So now, you're saying, are you saying that it's like easier to train people on the more manual systems because if you go right to digital, it's like they're not grasping the changeover and dropping the KV and making those adjustments.
And that's okay if it's like me or Ross or that one guy that's in there. He knows all of his equipment. He knows all how it works and everything. He knows how to do it. But then when you start to grow and you pull employees in, it's a learning curve because I can't go down the road and say, hey, temp agency, I need some experienced powder coaters, or hey, experienced powder coaters wanted. I'm not getting none. There's no experienced powder coaters here. So you have to flatten that learning curve because you don't want a guy coming in working for 4 or 5 months still learning the dang digital gun. Why can't I just put him on a manual analog system and he'll be fine? Right. Yeah. So those are the gun system and I guess to get back to the main question was those bigger companies. Just my opinion is let them keep doing the industrial. All those powders that they have are usually white labeled or black labeled through smaller companies. I don't know 100% sure if like Prismatic Powders makes their powder in-house, but I'm pretty sure they got a large big company getting raw material and mixing colors in-house, not making the powder themselves. And I think Columbia Coating just did that too. They got a system now where they can make custom colors in-house, but they still need the raw basic materials to mix it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I know that's kind of a new, I don't know, it's not a new, it's like an open secret, I guess, at this point. People that's what they're kind of whispering, that they can do this now. I've heard from another large manufacturer that they're going to be doing that too, and that they can turn it around in like 48 hours or something like that. So in a small quantity. Yeah. So, I guess that's a win for the custom coater on one level, I think, I lost my thought on what I wanted to take away from that one article was that they're like, it's like they're so far from their beginnings or the history of, these guys that invented powder coating, the patents and all of that. They were literally like us. They were like us. They were just experimenting. They were trying new things. I get really excited when I see, you did something experimental I saw on a recent post. And, I think it was the Johnny Cash something. That was my buddy has worked at this place. He's the fabricator in my shop because we started doing fabricating last year. He's like, man, I think we should get some glass because I have a large sandblasting area.
Yeah, I should probably, let me bring that up because it's a pretty cool, I liked how it turned out.
It's not perfect by no means, but it's a large door that the first time I ever powder coated glass. Now I did glass cups a while back, mugs, and engraved them, but this is just a little bit different, just to see what it would do. And I use car vinyl, which works a little bit better than like the Oracle 651 or high bake vinyl. But and I cut it on a vinyl cutter. And,
let me share my screen.
It was. I probably shouldn't have used transparents. Those were. Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, because it came out kind of light.
But it is transparent colors.
Wait, so that's a vinyl.
That's a vinyl. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, where'd the other? Here we go.
And so you have to heat that up. And what it is there's no way to control thickness if you're heating it up and spraying it directly. I'm hot blocking it.
Right, so, yeah.
So you're going to get thicker areas.
The blotchiness kind of.
Blotchiness is right here. It did even out a lot, and there's light right here. There's light right around the hook areas and stuff. But you didn't know what to do until you did it one time.
Right.
Now I know what to do. Change next. I got another one of these doors, but I'm gonna etch blast it next week. Put a design in it, and then.
Oh, there's a video too. Okay, I missed the video.
Yeah, I walked around real quick.
I'll turn the volume off. Was that after?
Yeah. So
I
painted the front in a black chrome 3.
Yeah.
With the logo, and then the back I painted transparent copper.
That's cool. I like the 2 different colors you did.
Because it just, I don't know, I was just messing around. We're just throw some stuff on there.
Yeah, it's cool. You got friends that, don't mind experimenting.
Yeah, they brought us the glass and everything. They like delivered it. Yeah, we'll bring you 2 shower glasses. They were mess ups. They're just sitting out here. I was like, cool, let's try it out.
Yeah, that is cool. And he loves Johnny Cash.
I think that was Johnny Cash. That was my buddy. He's like, let's do Johnny Cash. I was like, all right.
Yeah, could be singing in the shower with Johnny. Cool. I like that. I just saw that this morning and I thought, well, that's just this way of like, it's just to me, it's reminiscent of the history of powder coating, where they were just literally like taking shavings from paint and trying to electrify them onto metal and then putting it in the oven. I mean, that's essentially what powder coating came from, So these guys were just like, they were experimenting, and like we are. And it's so funny how, it's great that the industry has grown as big as it has industrially. And I know that we're just a fly on the wall kind of thing, or we're some little gnat flying around their face. But, I feel like we're closer to them, to the originators.
I don't think individually we'll get their attention in the industry.
Yeah.
As a collective, if we created our own, our own institute, the Custom Coder Institute, and then they would be like, well, hold on, guys, wait a minute. We're the standard of powder coating. And we're like, no, you're the standard of industrial powder coating. You're not the standard of custom powder coating.
Right. Yeah.
But I think more and more smaller powder companies like Powder by the Pound, Columbia Coating, Prismatic Powders, All Powder Paints, those companies are going to get more relevant. More of those type of companies in a smaller area. Of course, but then again, you look at it like, yeah, you can't run down to O'Reilly's and get some powder that you need because you just ran out of that particular color, but you can't get overnight shipping. Mm-hmm. And it's relatively inexpensive for what they're offering, so that quickness, of course, I got some in Nashville, and Columbia Coatings is Columbia, Tennessee. It's like 2.5 or an hour and a half away from me. I can run down there and grab them anytime.
Yeah, that's nice.
But some of those people don't have that choice. Like the closest powder coating company that sells powder coating is a state or two over.
Right.
And then I don't know about what you guys out there in Hawaii.
Well, my difficulty this week was I have a client that wants to, needs a pound of tiger just for some samples. And of course they got a 5 pound, but that's out of my pocket at first for some silver gloss or metallic. It's like a metallic out of the Steelix catalog. And I noticed that I went to Crosslink and I noticed that they didn't have a pound of that. So I emailed Gabe, but I haven't heard back from him from Crosslink Paints. So I may have to bite it and order this 5 pound. And of course they're switching, I can't call Gabe because Gabe's not my rep anymore. So I'm like, haven't met the new girl, Kelly. So Kelly, if you're out there, call me. She's supposedly my new rep, but I haven't heard from her yet. So, I'll might have to just bite the bullet and order it. But, maybe you're right. Maybe the custom coaters should just be, stop trying to bridge this gap between the industrialists and the custom coaters and just go our own way, just build our own educational system, build our own equipment.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm very partial to Columbia Coatings. And like I do
we all are. They were some of the first people we ordered from.
Yeah. And that is like, those are your newer high, those are going to be the companies that cater, like the big box companies cater to industrials. Those are the companies that, as they get better, as it gets more relevant, those guys are going to be the ones that cater more to the custom coater than the industrial side. And I hate to say it, but it's all about time and investment. So as a business owner, using those companies, those smaller companies, Prismatic, Columbia, Powder by the Pound, we're investing money in their products, showing it off, selling more of. They'll wind up becoming larger. Yeah. Will it happen tomorrow? Will it happen in 5 years? It'll slowly progress because nobody just builds a standardization of powder or for a custom side. And I'm pretty sure like in the industrial world, there's always everything's Q&A'd, a quality assurance aspect to it. Me being in the military, there's mill standards and stuff like that. Well, and that's why I think those big companies was created, because they needed a standardization. If we're going to put this in an industrial aspect, it can't just be maybe it's thick enough, maybe it's not. No, we have to be applying it this same thickness, this same deal every time, where it's repeatable. It's easier for the worker to learn and repeat it on a daily basis. And it's a totally different world than the custom paint shops, custom powder shops. You look at automotive industries that's painting cars, they usually dip those things and it's all automated or whatever, robotic arms. You hardly have anybody working inside those places anymore. They're just more of a monitor, a manager of robotics,
Right. Yeah.
Make sure everything's working properly.
Right. Yeah. I think you're right. I think I get what you're saying. And they were kind of mentioning that a lot of this new economy or whatever this thing is that's happened since 2020 moving forward is going to be like, it's like the distribution of products and services is going to be more local. Like it's these mid-level companies will have to sustain our local economies. Similar to what you're saying about Colombia, they'll be the regional supplier of everything because, with whether we're going to continue to have logistics supply disruptions and stuff on the macro level, it might lend itself to having more regional suppliers or more local suppliers. And I think that that's kind of what they're talking about with this new economy or whatever thing they're talking about.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
I don't know
on that part. It's just there's so much speculation. Yeah, you people say they're going to change. Will it change? I don't know. You know, the logistics has always been. I was on the phone with DJ Squared a while ago. They're back ordered on everything. Everything is made to order right now because they just can't keep up with demand, because when production stopped at the larger manufacturers, it's slinky effect all the way down, and we're filling the back end part of what manufacturers that shut down of raw material did last year. It's getting back to, I got it sometimes too, trying to order stuff. 4 to 6 weeks delivery time. You need lead time to build it or something like that. Where it used to not be, everything was in stock because they just had a shelf of them just sitting there.
Right. Yeah.
Now we're playing catch up. Because everything right now, I was talking to the guys at DJ Squared. They're a manufacturer of like tube benders and plasma tables, but
right.
They don't. He said everything is built to order right now. We have no stock of anything. And I was like, wow, that's a good thing and a bad thing. You sold all your stuff, but what's it going to look like 6 months down the line?
Mm-hmm.
What's it going to look like a year down the line? Are you still going to be doing that, or are you going to stock your storage back up? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, good question.
But that's a lot of the chrome. That's why there was so much problems out of chrome this year. I don't know if you noticed that. They were running out of raw material to make it.
It's missing.
Yeah. Well, guess who's the one that's going to hurt the worst? It's the little guys like us, because then when the stuff does get on the shelf, big companies already right there buying it all.
Yeah. Or they're back ordered and we'll never get it.
Or scraps that, we swept this chrome up off the floor. I doubt they did that, but that's what happens right now.
Don't be surprised.
Of course, don't get me started on chrome. I don't even want chrome in the shop. I try to do away with it.
Yeah.
It's just
a lot of people are switching to just silver, right? Using the silver as a base instead of we're just trying out, again, experimenting. I love that about the custom coaters. They're just, I guess they have the time to try something different and do something different, like powder coating on a glass shower door,
Just something to get attention. I don't know.
You need content.
Yeah, content.
I just need content. Give me your glass shower door.
But you never know unless you try it, I am going to try to make a YouTube video about that in the next couple of weeks. I got to do some other stuff, get some blast, because I'm going to sandblast it too and etch it.
That's cool. We've done that. It came out really cool.
Yeah. I'm good. So Dad brought me some mirrors. He's like, you got a sandblaster? I was like, yeah. Can you etch these mirrors for me? I was like, I have never done that before. Oh, it's too easy. Because he was using like a Harbor Freight blast pot, and he was dumping like 2 50-pound bags in like 10 minutes. I was like, mine's way more efficient than that.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me what you do in the race world. Are you pretty involved in that?
Got me. That's what got me like known in my city and the area, is that probably a year into me powder coating, one of the guys that I had worked with in the Army had gotten out, and he started up this, race team called Top Secret Speed. And it was like a nonprofit veteran organization working on cars, drag racing cars, stuff like that. He's like, hey, Reno, you want to sponsor me? And he actually won a cup for me, because I used to do free cup giveaways once a month, like custom tumblers. I had a lot of interest, make a custom cup. People love it. Buy 10 of them too while you're doing the contest. So he won a cup from me, and then he asked me to sponsor him, and I sponsored his car. And then like everywhere he went, here, Reno King powder coated this, Reno King did this, come to the track, man, and then all of a sudden I'm getting intakes, valve covers, all over the place, and that's when I started doing a lot of high temp Cerakote too. Just matching that stuff up, decking people's motors out, turbo housings. I'd even got to where I'm powder coating whole engine blocks, a whole engine,
Wow.
The block, the oil pan, the heads, the valve covers, making it all match. The engine has to be completely disassembled, but the overall finished product, I got a mud truck out there with the engine that I did in it 3 years ago, and it still looks just as good as it does day one. I didn't know what it was going to do because at that time, nobody I knew of or could find powder coated a whole engine before. There's probably people out there that did it, but nothing that I found on YouTube or anything.
Not very many people want to take that risk. Powder coating an engine.
I think I heard something about learning about the metallurgical properties and stuff like that. When I started doing this, people, can you powder coat my rims? They're made of aluminum. Will the heat warp the wheel or degrade the aluminum? And I was like, shoot, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. But then I found out, like, oh yeah, car manufacturer's been doing it for years now, or wheel manufacturer's been doing it for years. I was like, well, if Inky or BBS ain't never had no problem, I don't think we are either, because it should be around the same temperature of what I'm cooking it at.
Right. Well, and it kind of like they're just, because it's mostly auto body and that world of auto body and car building and stuff. They're just relying on their friends to paint their everything, right, for their race cars and stuff, and they don't know any powder coating friends, right? So,
yeah, I know.
Now everybody wants to know their powder coating friend.
So I do a lot of those rear end housings from Hammer Concepts and Designs. I've done 2 this week, probably 30 or 40 this year of all these high end chromoly rear end housings, and very particular people. Like, they're his customers. They're building like $200,000 race cars, drag cars. So everything is mint on these until they take it out to the drag strip. But but they take a lot of pride into it. They want every little piece perfect. And a lot of people are going away, like, painting the cars. They're just having them the body prepped and then wrapped, and then everything else is powder coated, the cage and all that. Now, some people do fight against the powder coating on roll cages because it's great until you hit a wall or a tree, depending on what race you're doing. So now you got to cut that bar out, weld the new in, and now all you're left with is spray paint.
Right.
Or disassemble your whole rod and powder coat it again. So, but I do a lot of cages too. And, I've done a few rock bouncers, mod light frames, sprint cars, stuff like that.
Yeah, we have for as small as Maui is, we actually have a very passionate group, large group actually, of racers and sprint car racers and drag racing and stuff like that. It kind of took a damper these last year or so because they did a huge renovation over there, and then after that, COVID hit. So we've been sponsoring the racetrack and stuff, but it hasn't. Not much has been going on just because it went from construction to COVID.
Sponsored drivers. Buy the advertisements on the wall. Sponsored drivers.
Yeah.
There's the guys that's gonna talk about, oh, look at this work. Look how beautiful my car is. Oh, it's so hot. Because when I go to a drag strip, because I'll go just to talk and visit and see stuff, but I'll go out and look at all these cars, and I'll say, hey, this car's only good for 2 things. And they'll look at me like, what the? Looking good and going fast. And I can help you out with looking good, man. I'm ready with Armour coating. I can powder coat your wheels or whatever you want. And they'll laugh at me and be like, yeah, man, I'll look you up, man. I'm gonna tear the car down this year, and I'll have you powder coat a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah.
Getting out there and letting people know. Because a lot of times I get customers that come in and say, hey, you could do all these colors with powder coating? I thought it was just black. People don't know. Your consumer needs to be educated. A lot of people don't understand, like, just before y'all painted, which I guess you had paint background, but before I did, I was like, powder coating, what the heck is powder coating? I had to do a whole bunch of research on it just to see if it was something I wanted to do. And then I was like, oh, it's relatively easy. Of course, everybody says that in the beginning until they start doing it.
Well, it sounds like you did a lot of the footwork. Like you do have to do a lot of the pounding of the pavement to get your name out there, It's not just knowing a bunch of friends on Facebook.
Yeah. So what I did for the longest, like if I had to go somewhere or pick something up, I would made it the road trip or whatever around town. I kind of made it a point to at least stop at one business that I thought might use my services and just go in and introduce myself, tell them where I'm at, and hand them my business card. And when I was looking at the beginning, I was like, oh, look at all your fabrication shops. So what do? I just look up on fabricators near me in Clarksville, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to this welding place tomorrow. I'm going to go to this fab shop next day. I'm going to go to this tire shop tomorrow, just go in and say hi, drop our car off and stuff. So, and then going to the racetrack, going to these events, that's one thing I never see. Like they got LS Fest here in Bowling Green, all these like trade shows and cars and coffee and all this. What's not there at any of them? A powder coating booth. Paint booth. Not a booth to paint in, but to advertise.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Nobody's there. I was like, why is nobody hitting this market?
Yeah, we were about ready to do that when COVID hit. Because we were moving to this side, and a lot of the guys with cars are, so we had to we had a lot of cancellations on those car events and cars and coffee. I don't know if they're meeting right now. Still, we're still relatively shut down, but we were giving out like 10% off or whatever cards to the cars and coffee people. And stuff. I think that's a great way to just do the PR, I guess, to side. It's not just utilizing Instagram and Facebook. If you need something a little bit more personable. Personable now. A lot of people are like, yeah, I like Facebook Marketplace and stuff, and I'm sure that's great, works for you. But if it was me and I was starting out again, I probably would avoid Craigslist and avoid Marketplace and just get out and meet people and walk. We're in a new area. In fact, I just had a bunch of these like cards that I made. They're just flyers that I made, and it's just a picture with, find your happy Maui Powder Works. It's just try powder coating. It's really simple card. I think I made it online in about 5 minutes and print them out. And it was like $36 delivered to my door. And it had our old location on it. So I just whited that out and put in our new location. And I'm just going to walk around the block.
Yeah.
And let everybody know that we're around the corner here. So I'm getting ready to do that. And it could be that simple, to get your name out and it helps to be personable. And I think that you have that ability, it's not everybody is like, if I had to ask my husband to do that, I mean, like he's not like,
Yeah, no, I understand. Some people just don't. I was never a people person. I don't know how. I don't know. I say that, but I was. I worked at a barbecue restaurant until I was 25, and then joined the Army until I just got out a year and a half ago, and then started this 5 years ago. So I'm always around people. Right. I say I'm not a people person, but I've always been in that position to be a people person. I don't know.
Well, you're a natural talker, I think, and you come across confident and stuff. And Ross does too. It's just, he's so busy doing what he's doing. He doesn't. I don't think he sees the value of talking to people.
Yeah. He's like, why do I need to talk to everybody? I already got all this work to do.
Yeah, you're like, Kim, you keep piling it on. Yeah. Like, sorry. And I don't like to say no very often.
I know it. That's me.
And you know what? There is a good story about that. I try to find that. I might want to pause the podcast and go grab this because I love this story and I've been wanting to share it for a long time. So bear with me tell the audience a story while I go and look for this thing. Tell us just a fun and interesting story that's happened to you, maybe with a customer or something like that.
Oh, now you got me thinking. I'm all
put you on the spot. No, you don't talk.
I got notes, but none of those notes.
Well, talk about anything you want. I'm gonna put this down for a second.
I don't know. I will say, like we have some questions on here. Kimberly sent me some questions that we might go over and stuff. So how do you keep your A game going? Do I subscribe to specific processes, mantra, or philosophy? And I'd hate to even get into that because I'm afraid she might ask me later. But helping everybody kind of gets me into that. I'm sorry, I was just talking about your A game, keeping your A game going.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Because that I think people can lose like motivation. And just give up because they hit roadblocks or difficulties, or they don't know what to do. They're like, "Oh, this is not working." There's a million ways to skin a cat,
Yeah.
And keeping on my A game and just getting on here, talking to my other friends that I've acquired through this powder coating journey that I've done. Like, I'll just shit those guys. Hey, what are y'all guys doing? And then they show me videos or, man, I just knocked these, American Force wheels out and all this. I was like, dang, man, how do you do that? Because I got a buddy that, down in Memphis, Dirty White Boys, Daniel Powers. He just started like this past year, a little bit before 2019. He's like, Reno, help me out. And he was actually going to be one of my customers, but he was all the way down in Memphis when he found out about me about 3 years ago. And then one day he's like, man, I think I'm going to try powder coating. I was like, dude, I'll help you out. Let's go. And now he's getting like these super expensive wheels. Like people are shipping them up from Texas and all this. He's still working a full-time job. He's really big in like the fuel. He's on Fuel TV's mentioned him a few times on there for doing these multi-tone polished powder coated wheels, And I'm like, golly, dude. I was like, I've been doing this for 5 years. He's stepping in. He's like, well, man, I had a good teacher, and I get on there. They give me motivation, because they'll call me when they're having a hard time. And I kind of lean on them too when I'm having a hard time because I see how far they've come and they like, dude, check this out, man. Look at what I just did, man. I can't believe this. Holy crap. Look at, because he told me today, he's like, oh man, a guy wants me to do this whole motorcycle deal. I told him I can't get to it for a month. He's like, and the dude was like, okay, here's $1,500 down. I want my spot now. And I was like, are you serious? That is ridiculous. And that makes me feel good. I was like, man, I'm at my game, man. I'm like, these guys that I taught are passing me up now. And individual determination area, a lot of these things, what are you comfortable with? Are you afraid to look outside the box? And those people have been with me a long time, like Brandon Morgan down in B2 Powder Coating in Chattanooga, Daniel Powder. This is Harley Dave up in Pennsylvania. These guys, Harley Dave was one of the reasons I started. Harley Dave, Brandon Morgan, is the reason why I started Powder Koating Kings. And they'd always call me and I'd help them out. And they're like, oh, thanks, man, dude. I just could not get it. And so I called those guys up, I'm like, hey, what y'all are doing? They might not know it, but, I get down, but I try not to show it because I don't know. The guy that they learn from is having a hard time. It doesn't look right, but I reach out to those guys and just see how they're doing, check up on them. Because sometimes I won't hear from him for a couple of months. I'm like, man, I hope he didn't give up. And I'll text him, and I'm like, oh, good. Tell me what you got. Post some pictures up. Don't forget about us on here.
That's how I feel too about the podcast. I noticed that, when I had Roro on at the very beginning, and it's just, I was shocked that he actually said yes. It was only my second podcast. And then he recently had been featured on another podcast. He wasn't in the podcast. Somebody had mentioned him about the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And then I saw him and Ion Powder Coating doing an Instagram Q&A live. And I watched it for a little bit. I couldn't watch the whole thing, but and then the other day we did Powder Coating International with Benny from SS Powder Coating Queensland. And I saw Benny was doing a Q&A on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, I feel like, like maybe coming on the podcast has given everybody the confidence to utilize these, these social media tools to get out there and meet and greet and talk and, build that community for themselves. And I love that.
They don't know if it works, I mean, you get a bad taste in your mouth right off the bat, oh, I'm finna try this. I'm going to get into powder coating. And then you put some questions up and like, yeah, you dumbass, blah, blah, blah. You're not supposed to do that. And be like, dude, I just started. I really hate this, and why would you do this? I don't know. You build them up. You're like, oh man, that's awesome. I mean, you're only 3 weeks in, you're already doing that stuff, that's great. And then hearing for podcasts like this and others, then they're like, oh, that guy didn't know anything about it, but he made it happen. Oh, he started from nothing. Oh, he used to work, oh, that guy's just like me,
Yeah.
And
it breaks down those walls so that you put up in your mind.
They're afraid that they won't get into business doing Facebook or marketing like that because they've never done it before. They don't know about it, but then they hear from somebody in the same industry like, yeah, dude, I just started doing Facebook and now I got busy as heck. And they're like, well, maybe we should try that,
Yeah.
Because I don't pay nobody to do anything. I do it all in house.
I was going to ask you that because you make it look easy. And I know it's not that easy, but what other tools do you use?
Now my buddy's helping me. He works for me, Brendan Joyner. He helps me. He has experience. He knows how he had his own little YouTube channel. I'll say little. I haven't really looked at it. I feel kind of bad about that. But he's like, dude, you got a YouTube channel? I was like, yeah. He's like, how many subscribers do you got? I was like, 1,600. And he was just blown away. Like, I was like, I haven't even touched it in a year, really. Because I've been busy. It was just me and my wife working through this whole COVID deal. Yeah. And he comes in and, we're now working more and more together on it because after a while it gets a lot to handle. You're editing videos, you're advertising on Facebook, you're working 70, 80 hours a week. You're like, all right, let something off here. But it's learning these platforms and getting out there is really great. And doing it all yourself, I think, is good because if you're hiring a company to put your name out there, they're not. Yeah. They're just putting your name out there. They're not putting you out there.
I was going to say, and that's what I thought. When I realized what you were doing, I already, because I knew myself, I do it all too, and I noticed you were doing your own. I was going to ask you if you paid somebody, but I could tell you did it because it's more authentic, And don't underestimate the power of authenticity. I mean, it's nice that they're bridging the gap between and being able to post across platforms. But, you know, getting familiar with social media platforms is key to your to producing more content, and don't think you have to be original every time. Like Instagram, I mean, reshare a post. Don't try to kill yourself creating something brand new nobody's ever seen before for months and months, because that's what I did when I first started doing the Instagram. It has to be different every day. I have to say something unique and fancy and all that. And, of course, I've said this before on the show, that the beauty of powder coating is that you're creating something new every day, but don't think you have to be fresh and innovative every day, right? You just have to connect with your customer. And I have not been on Instagram for, I want to say, a good 2 months. And I put one post out there about Ross's rims, because he powder coated him in Black Label, Murderous Black and stuff. And I just documented the whole, like, how he did it. And, just a simple post. And usually you don't get a lot if you don't post regularly. You lower your chances of getting more eyeballs on your post. It's the algorithm thing with Instagram.
Instagram's a little bit different, because if you would have tagged Black Label or...
Yeah, I did tag Black Label, and I tagged Columbia on there as well, because we did a two-tone color on the rims. Yeah. So we used a Columbia.
Yeah, Black Label's got a lot of following just because
they do. But really what it was is I haven't posted in 2 months. The bottom line was I only got like 55 likes on the post. It was just it wasn't even a series of posts or pics. It was just I did a 9, it was just a 9 block, and where I took all the photos and put them into one picture, and it was, squares. And I got a 22% engagement rate with just 55 and 9 profile views and a couple of messages.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it could literally, like, it's not awesome. How much, it's the how, like how quality it is, and are you really, it's what you're saying in the post that gets your customer to respond and engage. It's nice to have you and other people follow us and stuff, but you're not my customer.
No.
I mean, it's nice that I get extra likes from the powder coaters and stuff for my posts or whatever, and I'm known on there, but what's that?
I do have a lot of friends in Hawaii.
You do?
Well, I'm military, so I got 5 buddies that all their families in Hawaii right now, stationed there.
So you were what branch of the military? Army. Okay. Yeah, they're huge here.
Schofield, barracks, or whatever.
Schofield. Yeah, Schofield.
Yeah. And they're in there. So I might not be your customer, but I might be able to refer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know a lot of people everywhere. So being in the military, and I was in aviation, that's a very small community.
It is very tight.
So you know a lot of people in the aviation.
Yeah. Well, I must have liked this thing I'm about to share so much because I didn't have to look very far. It was actually the very first page of this. I took a class, a business class a couple of years ago, and they'd always give these handouts and stuff. And I just saved them all because they're just so important. Maybe I'll be able to share them to everyone at some point. But there's some that this one really got to me. I guess because I'm kind of more of a salesperson at heart, been on a lot of sales positions over the years. And this one really got to me because sales are so critical to any business, right? It is really one of the cores of your business. And the name of this is called 5 Reasons Why You Should Seek Rejection. And it was posted back in 2013. And it's a little bit of a story, but it says, nearly 40 years ago, I learned one business lesson that became the foundation of every success I've ever enjoyed. I was out of college for the summer and working as a door-to-door educational materials salesman for the Southwestern company. Believe me when I tell you that there is no better introduction to the feeling of rejection than having a door slammed in your face over and over again. You know, I guess because he's selling like encyclopedias, right? Nobody wants, he's being nice when he says educational materials salesman. Every day ended the same. I was exhausted both physically and emotionally. My sales were low. I wasn't getting nearly the amount of yes that I needed. I was truly on the verge of packing my bags and quitting when I got an idea that totally revolutionized my way of thinking. What if, instead of making my goal about the number of sales I made, it was about the number of sales pitches I did every day? From that moment on, I stopped focusing on getting sales. My single focus was on the goal of doing 30 sales pitches every single day, no matter the outcome. So even if I did 30 pitches and was rejected all 30 times, I could still accomplish my goal. But here's the funny part. I never could get 30 no's in a row. If I succeeded in doing 30 pitches, I always got at least one yes. I ended up becoming one of the best salesmen simply by not caring whether or not I made the sale. And then it goes on to say, years later, I took this concept to another level. I just started managing a young comedian and was trying to get him bookings in the college market. For my goal for each day was being beyond simply doing 30 pitches. I was now trying to literally receive 30 no's every day. On each phone call, I would actually say, would you be interested in booking a comedian? Would you? Anyways, it goes on to just talk about how he basically looks for the no now because he's so good at sell. So tell me what your thoughts are on that.
So before I did the powder coating business, I did like direct marketing, kind of sold some like it's called Zija health stuff. Mm-hmm. And actually, I don't do that, but it did teach me a lot. So it taught me how to talk to people.
Yeah.
And it goes into the deal like ask 10 people, get 1 yes, you're good. Ask 10 people, get 2 yeses, you're getting better. Ask 10 people, you get 3 yeses, you're really good. If you get that 4th yes out of 10 people, you're doing some awesome stuff. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's 40% engagement, right?
Yes. So, 30 yeses or no, and never preload yourself with expectation. And what I mean is don't try to sales pitch and think, well, I'm just awesome. And he's going to say yes because
he doesn't know you're awesome, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, well, don't preload yourself an expectation. If it's a no, it's a no, but move on. Ask somebody else. Bugging can be a good deal. Bugging can be a bad deal. Too much calling, oh, let me contact you back later in 2 weeks. Maybe you change your mind or something like that. But you put something that triggers a remembrance in their head. And that's why you get so an enthusiastic atmosphere or an enthusiastic attitude or character, whatever. Mm-hmm. That puts something in somebody's head, like especially if you can make them laugh. oh, that's crazy, you know? And then they'll remember you. And then later down the line, they're like, I did meet somebody who can powder coat. Hold on, let me call this guy up. What was his number, information? And it's the sales pitch. Yeah. I don't know about 30. That's a lot. I don't know how much work.
Well, this was.
His is just strictly, you know, how many sales can you get?
Right.
In this industry. That's why I go to those places. I'm not really asking. I'm asking them if they would need my services, or if in the future they possibly would have a customer that need my service. Please hit me up. Yeah. You know, and I don't go to the individuals. I go where other individuals go. That would possibly need that service. You know, if you're powder coating wheels all the time, I'm not going to go to a lamp store.
Right.
I'm going to go to the wheel shops in town and start passing out and be like, hey, you got any old wheels in the back I can powder coat and set up as a display with my cards in it? And that's another thing. I hit up automotive places in town. Hey, you got any junk parts like valve covers so I can, when I go someplace, I can have displays? Yeah, they give you for free.
Especially it sounds like you've got a lot of really innovative things you did marketing-wise beyond the SEO and beyond the social media that you didn't just sit at your desk going, when's my next sale, or when is that customer going to come in, or whatever. I mean, you really realized that it was a wholehearted, you know, well-rounded marketing effort you had to put into it, you know, that it was a little bit of this and a little bit of that and stuff. You couldn't just, you know, I
always think there's another way, you know.
Right.
There's always another way. Like even my Facebook, I got Facebook campaigns set up, and I turn them off and on depending on how much workload I have in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, right.
So if I say, if I'm looking and I'm like, oh, it's not income tax time yet or whatever, you know, it's about to be. So why would I want to advertise? How much stuff do I have in the shop? What is my outlook in the next 2 weeks to 3 weeks? Do I need more business? Can I hold more business? Maybe I should turn my marketing on, because people are going to be looking to spend money. If they're searching it, all your algorithms and cookies, if you're looking up car parts, and if you even, painting or powder coating, setting those demographics up and interest and likes into your Facebook campaigns will trigger those ads to be popped up on your Facebook. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a little, and then also going around and talking. Like right now, probably next month, the racetrack opens.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a lot of good powder coating right there, because usually if people are racing, they don't have time to take stuff off their car. Usually the winter months is their tear down and build up season.
Right.
So that's when you get all the powder coating for car stuff. Now, not to say you won't get it in the future, but you know, you go to these places, put that seed in their head. You know, go out to, oh man, that's a super awesome car, dude. You know, get to talking to them.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Then be like, hey, when you get ready to tear this thing down, dude, I'll do these wheels for you. Put your logo down the side or something like that. Sure enough, not everyone will hit you back up, but they'll remember you 6 months later.
Yeah, that's true.
Then you send them a friend's request and you invite them to your page, and now your stuff is starting to more relevantly be on their Facebook feed, because I hate to say it, most people's going to go scrolling through their phone. It's I don't listen to really radio at all. I don't listen to regular TV at all, but I am on my Facebook a lot.
Yeah, we all are.
Bad, but it's my connection to business.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a holistic approach really is the best approach. It can be exhausting, but otherwise, if you're just doing like Instagram and you're waiting for that, it might take you a while, you know. I don't know.
I think I'll listen to the dude from Unknown Coatings. He was talking about it. He's like, I really don't. I'm not. Y'all are not out there for likes. You're not. In some cases, I am, and I hate to say it. The more people that know about you, or the more people that subscribe to your settings, subscribe to your channel, the more people know about you, because it's a compounded interest. Because they got hundreds of friends you don't have. So I don't. I kind of agree, and and I don't agree. Because I do want more people to like it. Because I've got my Facebook is YouTube videos on how to, or my YouTube is videos on how to powder coat. But I've gotten a lot of customers from that, which they just, oh, this guy can do wheels. Oh, this guy can do that, or whatever. Might not be the best, or my most awesome product, but it'll send them to my Facebook page where you can see all the good work that I've done, not just a YouTube video setup. I am powder coating that stuff for real, but it's hard for me to do a two-tone video or something like that because I put my headphones on and tune everybody out when I do that stuff. I don't want nobody talking to me or nothing. But getting those likes, and that's how what y'all are talking about, building the community for the custom coaters. More people need to be interested and engaged. The more people are interested in engaging, the more things get to moving.
Yeah, that's why there's a platform that I'd like to put on the directory, and we already have this user base already where there's you have to create your user account in order to post your page on the directory, and it's a free posting, of course. I just want you guys to have a valuable backlink so that customers that land on that page and want to learn more about powder coating, because customers are searching, and they're searching beyond Google and locally. I know because I have a blog that is proving that. But on the back end, we could easily, if we have more and more people signing up, especially, I'm tired of Facebook, to be honest with you. I know a lot of my followers are aware of that. There's a lot of pitfalls to it.
I am, but there's not another program or an application that's us.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. I was thinking, what could keep people on the directory without having to go through Facebook? Because in the end, if we're all here for our customers, and the customers are coming to, say, if they were to come to the directory and have a question about rims or color or architectural or whatever, there could be someone there, as a user. But we could also have a conversation. We could answer questions that customers have. It could be a bigger community. It's not, whereas the Facebook group is just really, it's just for powder coaters. You're not, occasionally you'll get a customer in there that's joined or whatever, and they're asking their question.
There are some that have a lot more consumers in it or a lot of consumers in it. I try to have no consumers.
Right. Yeah. Yours is just
strictly for coaters, hobbyists and businesses.
Right.
Or people who are interested in getting into it.
Right. And I think that there could be, with this platform, I believe that you can actually have a question and answer area so you can kind of gauge the level of engagement that you want to obviously be in. And you can have communities set up ahead of time. So like if you are a customer or someone who's looking for powder coating, you would go into this group, and then, and any of the users on the directory could chime in. If you're looking for sales, if you're looking for a sale, a lot of people are shipping their stuff to people. I mean, just based on relationships,
That's it. It's like,
if you're good at brake calipers, people are shipping them to you.
I have customers right now that have customers for years. They just want me to do it because it's me doing it.
Yeah.
And they're your loyal.
I think that's only going to get more extreme, actually.
And they'd be like, "Oh, that's the guy. That's the guy all my stuff goes to." I mean, they got that in all the other, like tube chassis and I refer to race car because I know people in the deal, like, people have a race car, but they only go to that one guy. They don't care if they got to wait 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's his guy, and that following creates other people too, But,
Yeah, it does.
He's fast. He's awesome. He's got an awesome car. His car looks good. Who is he using? I want to be like him. And they'll use you because you do stuff for him only,
Yeah.
That's shipping is irrelevant. People pay a ridiculous amount of money to have stuff. $400 powder coating job and $200, $300 in shipping fees. I've seen it, but hey.
Yeah.
But I understand.
If they know that they don't have to, that if they know to send it to you so that they don't have to worry.
Exactly. That's another thing.
That's, that's worth its weight in gold, right?
Yeah. Peace of mind. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, I find that like Ross and I are saying no to people more often now, which doesn't sound right because I've been complaining about how slow it is, but there are the jobs we want and then there's the jobs we don't want, right? And when you're in it long enough and you've gone through all of your troubleshooting and got your shop all figured out and your equipment all figured out, well then, you can kind of start to hone in on that customer that's your customer.
Yeah. And
stuff. So start eating no's for breakfast. That's what this article, I'll scan a copy of this article and put it up on the vault. I have a vault that I'm trying to get out to everyone. They can sign up for there'll be a link in the podcast and they can sign up for it. And I'll add this little article. I think it's just so valuable, especially when you're not feeling very confident in, maybe you're just having a hard time getting some sales, or getting the right customer to come to your door.
I hate to say it, like, do some sponsorships or free stuff. There's a different, people think I don't do nothing for free, but what I do is it's a marketing expense.
Well, yeah.
If you're putting that, dude, I want to do those wheels. Oh, that's those awesome roll cage, dude. Let me do that roll cage. I just want to put my name on it. I'll do it for free, I'm going to take some pictures and post it up. You're going to get, you're going to get business from it later down the line, maybe not immediately, but you got to get your name out there somewhere. Do giveaway. That's the big thing. I didn't think it was my wife and my brothers like, we need to do some cup giveaways. I was like, I'm not ready to do any of that stuff. And that's what I started doing was powder coating cups. Great way to learn. You can get them from anywhere now. Those stainless steel tumblers.
Yeah.
If you mess up, just drink out of them and move on to the next one. I got a whole bunch of mess up cups. But that's what I started on, and it's just getting out there, showing people. You can tell people that you're going to do it. You can say you can do it, but until they see it, that's a big difference.
That's kind of that's really, that's the crux, right there. It is just that, simply said,
But no, talking to people that get some no's, never be afraid to get a no. And never be afraid to give a no either. Nah, I ain't got it. I respectfully decline.
And don't be afraid to do your way or Sean's way. Sean from Unknown. I mean, I agree more with you than Sean, but Sean's way is working for him.
That's another thing.
And if you lean more towards that style, then go that. There's more than one way to do it.
That's when I do when I'm doing all my videos. I say it might be the right way, it might be the wrong way, but I do know one thing: it works for me. It may work for you. If you don't like it, cool, but take something from it.
Right.
That's me showing everybody else how to powder coat. But that's the nose. Sure, why not? Ask as many people as possible.
Yeah. So now the way the guy ends the article is, by making rejection my goal, so now he looks for 30 no's. Because everybody says, because but it was a different business. By making rejection my goal, I got to the point where no meant absolutely nothing to me. I was eating them for breakfast. Worrying about rejection became a thing of the past. And when that happened, the yeses started rolling in one after the other.
Also goes behind confidence too.
Mm-hmm. And that's not easy to do when you've risen pretty quickly. And I'm sure you've had your ups and downs in your shop. So you've got this equipment rollout and you've got to make sure things are running smooth. And then you've got customers coming in and stuff. And it's hard to juggle it all,
Yes. But if you don't try, you'll never get good at it.
Yeah. So what's the one key takeaway we can get from you after we've discussed a wide variety of topics, but and I love the innovation that you've done in terms of getting your name out there and being innovative or refreshing to people, to customers, and taking a chance on them, getting out of your car and giving them a business card, or making a goal to wherever you drove to do at least one business, Yeah. Because I think people kind of get like, I'm in my shop, like people have to come to me, I'm in my shop,
Yeah.
And it doesn't always work like that.
It doesn't. But it is good to be in your shop though all the time.
It is, yeah. Russ loves his shop. He hates going anywhere.
I stay the night up here all the time. I have a fifth wheel camper out here to the side, so sometimes I'll work into the night, just stay here, get up the next morning, and keep on rolling. My wife hates me for it, but I was like, I gotta get stuff done.
Oh, I know, me too. I've been running like 12, 14-hour days, just at the desk, just trying to keep up with everything that we're rolling out. But so yeah, what's your key takeaway with talking about what we've talked about?
Get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of custom powder coating shops, but it's all, relatively within the past 10 to 15 years. That's really relevant everywhere now. So not everybody's tried everything yet. Get out of your comfort zone. You can find a niche market that you never even thought about just by daily working. If you're feeling comfortable and you're not challenging yourself every day, I don't think you're going to go very far. Always improve, always keep learning. That's why I stay in contact with all the guys, because they're doing stuff that I've never done. I'm doing stuff they've never done. But between all of us, we're reaching out, we're connecting, and now we all can do it, or I got somebody who can come up here and teach me, or I can send it to somebody that can do that, or refer them to them that's outside my area expertise. But just keep reaching for the stars. I mean, nobody's doing this for their health. It's a business, and to grow the business, to get bigger, to make more money, to have more time off, you got to get in there and get uncomfortable, get frustrated, and get a lot of no's.
Yeah. Yeah, the validity of the no's is important, because
Who wrote that? Who's the author?
Robert D. Smith. He has a free ebook, Battle Tested Branding.
That's another thing. Create your brand.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what the podcast is about too, and what we're doing with the Coder Biz is helping people build brand. The website is his website is therobertd.com. This was posted in 2013, so I don't know if that's still a valid email address. Website, but
our website's down right now.
Hey guys, we talked a little bit longer with Reno, but I'm going to cut it short on this one. We have some bonus content that we want to bring out. We ended up losing internet connection or something that day with Reno, so I hope to have him on to finish up this podcast. There was just a small segment about websites, and I'd like to get back with him on how he ended up rebooting his website. So that concludes today's episode. Have a great day. Aloha.